Thank you for calling on me. To me, when you speak of vibrational energies, I think of frequencies. And is that what we're talking about here? When my vibrations are in tune with bringing money my way, is it the same frequency as someone else? In other words, does money have its own vibration, and all of us, when we're trying to manifest money, are on that same vibrational energy, or does money to me have a different vibration than it does for someone else?
Well, money, or any subject in and of itself, has a frequency that goes all the way from the abundance of it to the absence of it.
Okay.
And even the word abundance is
subjective.
So it is unique. It is unique in the sense that you compete with no one for your money.
Right.
Because your experience causes you to offer your rocket of desire, and if there are trillions of people offering rockets of desire about money, the economy just expands. Right. What is interesting about economy is that billions of people and what they are living causes the asking, which causes the expansion of the economy. But then only those that are a vibrational match to it are the receivers of it. So the imbalance in the haves and have-nots comes from the alignment with the energy. But there are a lot of people that are very wealthy that are benefiting by the asking of those who are not yet allowing anything into their experience. And that's why there's so much resentment by the have-nots. They can somehow feel that some of that should have been theirs, and it very well should have been, but they've got to find a way to let it in. When you're a vibrational match to abundance, it will find its way to you through the crack of least resistance. And so we think that it's not so much about the vibration of money that is the variable, it's the crack of least resistances that are the variables. So your allowing is the variable.
Allowing it to come in.
More than anything. How often I think about it in an attitude of appreciation, how much I worry about it. How much I worry about people who don't have it. In other words, it's the purifying or the clarifying of the way you feel about money that is the big distinction about how fast it comes and how much comes when it comes. Mm-hmm. Esther had an interesting experience as this last weekend they participated in a large conference in Las Vegas that Hay House was producing. And it's the first time that Jerry and Esther have done anything outside of the small gatherings that they've been doing on their own. And both of them had some reluctance about it because it was something that was unknown. It was different from what they're doing. And they had very little measure of control over the people who were coming, the setting up of the rooms, even the organizing of the sound systems. In other words, it was all being handled by someone outside of them. And so as the venue began to unfold, both of them began to see the positive aspects of it. And the reception of a large number of people to what they were hearing from Abraham was great fun for Jerry and Esther. And as they heard different keynote speakers singing the praises of Abraham, and different people in the audience began responding, Jerry and Esther began rethinking the scenario a little bit, because Esther had said, this is probably the only one we're going to do, or maybe another one that we've committed to, but it's sort of a lot of work and a lot of trouble, and I'm not sure I want to do it anyway. But as it began to unfold, Esther could feel that her experience in that exposure caused a clarifying of some desires that were not within her before. She actually felt the birthing of the desire happening right before her eyes. And then she said to Jerry, uh-oh, because she now knew, because she's been hearing us and she's been experiencing it from her own experience, you cannot take back a desire that has been born out of your experience. In other words, once a desire is launched, you have no choice but to get up to speed with it. So it's an interesting thing, this relationship with money, or this relationship with any desires. Once the desire has been born, you must come into alignment with it, because you can't take it back. Your experience birthed it. You've got to get up to speed with it.
Okay.
And so Esther said, I can see how people begin to see the world differently. The more exposure they have to the world, the more expansive their thoughts are. The more expansive their thoughts are, the more expansive they become. In other words, you just cannot hold yourself in one place. So there are endless frequencies relative to every subject. But the only frequencies that are of interest or importance to you are the vibrational relationships between the frequencies of your hatched desires and your in-the-moment offering. You can't even factor in or understand anybody else's frequency.
Okay. I'd like to ask a question about your relationship with vibrational energy. How do you relate to it? I mean, you don't relate to it, I assume, in the same way we do, but obviously you're cognizant of vibrational energies. And do you launch rockets?
We do, and we are part of the rockets that you launch. In other words, when you allow us to be focused within you, much of the inspiration you receive is part of our awareness. Humans, nothing that is physical can separate itself from that which is non-physical. We don't have solar plexus that we use to interpret the energy, but we are vibration, and we do have discernment, as does everything. It is this vibrational relativity that is the big factor that we want you to consider. In other words, we are so much that which we are, that if we were to deviate by your standards at all from it, we would feel it more than any emotion you have ever felt. In other words, the faster the energy moves, the more imperative the alignment is. And that really is what non-physical provides for humankind. We are so stable in our connection to Source, so much so that you could not separate that which you call Abraham from that which you call Source. Mm-hmm. You see.
I'd like to ask one more quick question. Do you non-physical beings have interactions? Because I know that there are lots of them. Do you have interactions amongst yourself?
We don't gather around a big table in the way that you might, but the projection of thought brings us together. There are no boundaries. Law of attraction brings everyone and everything together in what some have referred to as families of consciousness. In other words, within that which we are, there is still latitude and leeway, but we are teachers. We are teachers of teachers. And so we hang around with others who are teachers of teachers. And that is the most satisfying experience for us, because that is the intention that is vibrating most powerfully within us.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Someone told Esther on Segment of Refreshment that as she is enjoying the aura that is exuding from Esther's body, which is the energy of Abraham, that she actually was able to discern many different figures. And as she looked at them, she noted that by the costumes that they were seeming to wear, that they were from different religious backgrounds. Mm. And Esther said, that does not surprise me at all, because I can feel that Abraham is at the hub of all religions, that down there somewhere, someplace within every religion, somewhere was an understanding of that which Abraham is, you see. And so it's all about focus, isn't it? It's all about the activation of something. It's a very broad universe. And we hang around with teachers of teachers that from your physical format might very well surprise you, because the religions on your planet have strayed very far from their beginnings, while that which is truly their beginning is in absolute harmony with every other. At the true heart of every religion is utter compatibility with every other religion.
Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.
Abraham, if you clarify a little about, do you just totally leave it up to us to do all the wanting, and you just enjoy our wanting, or do you ever want something that gets manifested somehow? In other words,
we want you to fulfill your desires.
But do you ever send out rockets of desire?
Is that not one?
Well, that's just kind of piggybacking on...
We want you to know your power.
But there's nothing you want for yourselves, because yourselves is ourselves.
The flaw in your question is that you are separating yourself from us.
Okay, I got it.
Your joy is our joy. Your desire is our desire. But you are on the leading edge, and so that's your job.
So is the lizard one of us to you?
Yes. We are the inner being of the lizard.
Okay.
And the intention of the lizard is different from the intention of the human.
So when the lizard is playing with the cat who isn't really playing with the lizard, are you...
We've never seen a lizard play with a cat.
They're not really playing? Okay, they look like they're playing. Okay. I think that answered my question. Thank you.
You are source energy, and you are on the leading edge of thought. We are right there with you, and we are source energy. Therefore, we are on the leading edge of thought. And when you are, through your deliberate paying attention to the way you feel, coming into alignment with who you really are, then you and we are one, having a wonderful time. And that is the optimum experience. You letting you really be you, which means you are letting you be us. That is the optimum experience. And all of this talk of you and us serves to separate you. And yet, in the beginning, since you think that you are separate from us, we have to have some beginning point. And so we speak of you, and we speak of us, and we speak of you, and we speak of the inner being you. And then we talk about your compatibility, and then we talk about the vibrational relationship. But in talking about the vibrational relationship, which is necessary for you to have guidance, then we must help you to understand why there could be more than one perspective which has a relationship with another perspective. So that was sort of the point of our friend's question. What is that other part of me that has some sort of other relationship with life? And we say what it really is the here I am and where I be, and I'm extending myself into something more, and now there's a relationship between the more that I've extended myself in and the me that I be. So we were the you that you are before you were born into this body. And we were the we that extended ourselves into this physical time-space reality, which became you. And now there's this relationship between the we that we always have been and the we that we have just become as we have been born into the body that you call you. It's just semantics, but you're beginning to get the sense of the relationship between you and you see. And so in time, maybe we can all stop talking about whether it's physical or non-physical, and we can just talk about joy. We can just talk about feeling good, and we can know the difference between whether we feel good or whether we do not feel good. And we can don that one perspective and stop comparing ourselves with anybody else, just benefit by the variety, and take the ingredients from the well-stocked kitchen and make the pie that pleases us and leave everybody else to make the pie that pleases them. And don't worry about the ingredients that they're putting in your pie. If you don't want to put it in your pie, don't put it in your pie. It's irrelevant to your pie. And then we can all live happily ever after in our variety.
So are we something like the little fingertips out here that are sensitive to everything, and we get burnt and stickered and salved and so on and so forth and pleasured? And you're more like the elbow that's kind of calloused, that doesn't feel a lot of stuff?
That's exactly what it's like, yes. You are like the astronaut on the end of the tether.
Yeah.
And we are like Cape Canaveral on the ground. We're secure. We have knowledge. We believe in the flight. We're not worried about the outcome. And you are out there on the raw and bleeding edge.
Okay.
And when you find vibrational alignment with that which we are, then there's no risk where you are either.
Right.
Your truck can roll over, and there's no problem.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.